Every doctor, every pharmacist, every health article online says the same thing when you mention constipation. Take more fiber. Psyllium husk, Metamucil fiber gummies. The fiber supplement industry is worth billions, and it's built almost entirely on that one piece of advice. But for a lot of people, especially older adults, fiber supplements don't just fail to fix the problem, they actually make it worse. More bloating, more gas, more discomfort, and still no real relief. The reason comes down to a simple mechanical problem. Fiber supplements work by absorbing water and expanding inside your colon, which is supposed to push things along. But that only works if your colon already has enough moisture and enough muscle activity to move the expanded bulk through. When those two things are missing, and they decline naturally as we age, adding more bulk is the exact wrong move. It's like a highway that's already gridlocked. Adding more cars doesn't clear the jam. What the colon actually needs isn't more volume, it needs lubrication. And there are 3 simple morning remedies that have been used for centuries to do exactly that, long before fiber supplements existed. The first one costs about $1 a week and takes 20 seconds to prepare. But before we get to them, let me show you why everything you've been told about fiber is probably the last thing your gut actually needs. Let's start with the science. A 2012 study published in the World Journal of Gastroenterology looked at patients with idiopathic constipation, that's chronic constipation, with no clear underlying cause, and tested what happened when they reduced dietary fiber rather than increased it. The result was the opposite of what most people expect. Symptoms improved, bloating dropped, straining dropped, and bowel movement frequency went up. Researchers concluded that for this group, fiber was contributing to the problem, not solving it. That finding makes a lot more sense once you understand what actually slows down as we age. The gut wall has a layer of smooth muscle that contracts rhythmically to move stool forward. That process is called peristalsis. By the time most people reach their 60s, those contractions are slower and weaker than they were at 30. At the same time, the mucous membrane lining the colon produces less moisture, so the gut wall gets drier and creates more friction. Stool doesn't slide, it drags. When you pour a fiber supplement into that environment, the fiber absorbs whatever water is available, swells up, and then sits there because the muscle contractions are too slow and too weak to push it through. The bacteria in the colon get to work on it in the meantime, which produces gas. That's where the bloating comes from. It's not a side effect, it's the predictable outcome of adding bulk to a system that's already struggling to move what's there. And there's an additional concern for seniors managing kidney disease. High fiber supplements like psyllium husk raise potassium and phosphorus levels in the bloodstream, and for someone with compromised kidney function, that's a real risk, not a theoretical one. It's worth knowing before assuming psyllium is a harmless daily habit. The alternative isn't complicated. Fat-soluble compounds coat the intestinal wall, reduce friction directly, and stimulate peristalsis from the inside out. The colon responds to that kind of input in a way it simply doesn't respond to bulk. Once you understand that, the first remedy stops looking like a folk remedy and starts looking like basic physiology. So let's get into it. Remedy number 1, ghee and warm water. 1 teaspoon of ghee stirred into a glass of warm water, taken on an empty stomach before anything else in the morning. That's the full preparation. It takes less time to make than it does To open a supplement bottle, ghee is clarified butter, butter with the milk solids and water removed, leaving almost pure fat. What makes it useful here isn't the fat in general, but a specific short-chain fatty acid it contains called butyric acid or butyrate. The cells lining the colonocytes, use butyrate as their primary fuel source. A study in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry confirmed that butyrate directly improves colonic motility and reduces intestinal permeability, meaning it feeds the gut wall and helps it contract more effectively. It's not stimulating the colon artificially the way a laxative does. It's feeding the tissue that was already supposed to be doing the work. The warm water matters too. Warmth relaxes smooth muscle tissue and the intestinal wall responds quickly to it. Most people find that the combination triggers a bowel movement within 20 to 30 minutes. It doesn't happen on day one for everyone. 3 to 5 days of consistent morning use is the usual window before the pattern becomes reliable. For anyone managing kidney disease, ghee is one of the safer options on this list. It's extremely low in both potassium and phosphorus, so 1 teaspoon in the morning doesn't raise the same concerns that fiber supplements do. And if you've been told to avoid dairy, ghee's milk solids are removed during clarification, which means most people with dairy sensitivities tolerate it without any issue. Now, remedy number 2, extra virgin olive oil and lemon juice. This one targets a different bottleneck entirely. Where ghee works by feeding the colon wall directly, olive oil works by triggering a hormonal signal that most people don't know exists. When you swallow extra virgin olive oil on an empty stomach, your small intestine releases a hormone called cholecystokinin or CCK. That hormone tells your gallbladder to contract and release bile into the digestive tract. Bile is the body's own internal laxative. It emulsifies fats, yes, but it also stimulates peristalsis in the lower intestine, pushing contents forward. Research published in Alimentary Pharmacology and Therapeutics confirmed that olive oil consumption directly triggers gallbladder contraction and measurable bile flow, more so than most other foods. The preparation is 1 tablespoon of high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil with a fresh squeeze of lemon juice taken before eating anything. The lemon juice adds a mild acid hit that activates digestive enzymes in the stomach, giving the whole process a second push from a different angle. This remedy is best for constipation that feels stuck rather than slow, the kind where there's pressure but nothing moves. That pattern often points to sluggish bile flow, and this combination addresses it at the source. If you've had your gallbladder removed, this one is less relevant, since the bile reservoir is no longer there, but ghee and aloe vera both still apply. For kidney disease, lemon juice at this quantity is low enough in potassium to be generally safe. And that brings us to remedy number 3, pure aloe vera gel. Most people know aloe vera as something you put on sunburn. The inner leaf gel, taken by mouth, does something completely different inside the digestive tract. Food-grade inner leaf aloe vera gel contains polysaccharides that pull water into the intestinal lumen, the interior channel where stool forms and moves. More water in that channel means softer stool and less friction against the colon wall. It's a slower mechanism than the bile flush or the butyrate effect from ghee, but it builds steadily and tends to produce consistent results after 5 to 7 days of daily use. The distinction between inner leaf and whole leaf matters, and it's worth being clear about. The outer leaf contains a compound called Aloe, which is a harsh stimulant laxative that causes cramping and can be hard on the gut if used regularly. Inner leaf gel, properly processed, doesn't contain aloe. When you're buying a product, look specifically for inner leaf or aloe-free on the label. 1 tablespoon stirred into a glass of water each morning is the dose, not a concentrated supplement, not a large amount. For seniors with kidney disease, high-dose aloe supplements can shift potassium levels, so 1 tablespoon of gel is the ceiling here, not a starting point to build from. Now here's the part that ties all three together, because timing matters as much as the remedy itself. Any of these three works better when you take it in the first 20 minutes after waking, before food and before coffee. The reason is the gastrocolic reflex, a neurological signal the body sends naturally each morning that tells the colon to contract and move its contents forward. It's strongest on an empty stomach right after waking, and most people accidentally suppress it by eating or drinking coffee before it has a chance to do anything. Taking one of these remedies in that window works with the reflex instead of crowding it out. The simplest way to stack them is to start with ghee and warm water every single morning as your baseline. If things are still slow after 5 days, add the olive oil and lemon 2 or 3 mornings a week. If dryness and hard stool are the main complaint, stir aloe vera gel into water each morning alongside the ghee. Drinking 6 to 8 glasses of plain water throughout the day isn't optional here. None of these remedies work well in a chronically dehydrated gut. So here's what it all comes down to. The colon doesn't need more bulk. It needs the right fats, the right hydration, and the right timing. Ghee, olive oil, and aloe vera each work with the body's own morning rhythm, rather than forcing something artificial. Try one this week and let us know in the comments which one you're starting with. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. See you next time.